Australia's landscapes, they're just bursting with life, right? So lush, so vibrant, so beautiful. But hidden inside all that green, there's a darker side. Some of the most stunning plants here are also some of the most dangerous. So in this explainer, we're going to uncover the lethal leaves that are hiding in plain sight.
Okay, so listen to this. When a conservation officer, a guy with decades of experience in the wild, says something is 10 times worse than anything else, you really have to pay attention. He was talking about a plant, and his story, well, it's a chilling preview of what we're about to get into. This isn't just about getting a rash or an upset stomach. We are talking about pain on a completely different level.
All right, let me ask you this. Can you imagine getting a sting that doesn't just hurt for a few hours, but actually haunts you for months, maybe even years, flaring up again every single time you have a cold shower? I know it sounds like something out of science fiction, but it's not. It's the calling card of one of Australia's most infamous plants.
It goes by a few names: the stinging tree, Gympie-Gympie, or the most terrifying one, the suicide bush. You find it in the rainforests of Queensland, and this plant is, without a doubt, one of the most feared in Australia, and for very, very good reason. Its entire reputation is built on pure, unadulterated agony.
Wow.
Just wow. There are few descriptions of pain that are this vivid. This came from someone who had a run-in with a Gympie-Gympie when they were just a teenager. I mean, the description is so visceral, it gives you a tiny, horrifying window into the specific kind of pain this plant dishes out.
And this is from Ernie Ryder, the conservation officer we mentioned at the start. His encounter left him with pain that felt like his chest was literally being crushed. And that stinging sensation, it ambushed him again and again for 2 full years. This is not a simple rash, you know? It's long-term torment.
So how in the world does this plant deliver so much pain? Well, the science is just brutally efficient. The whole plant is covered in these microscopic hollow hairs called trichomes. Think of them like perfect little hypodermic needles. The second you brush against it, they break off, they get stuck in your skin, and they just continuously inject a really complex neurotoxin that scientists have named gympiotides. It's the delivery system that makes the pain so incredibly intense and just so long-lasting.
As terrifying as the Gympie-Gympie is, here's the thing. It's not some isolated monster. It's actually part of a much bigger, more complex story about Australia's plant life. So the real question is, why does this one continent have so many plants that can do us harm? Get ready for this number. Around 1,000. That's the estimated number of plant species in Australia that are known to be toxic to humans and animals. 1,000. That is a staggering figure. From the deep outback to our own backyards, the potential for a dangerous encounter is surprisingly high. So why? What's the reason for all this toxicity? In a word, survival. Plants can't run away from things that want to eat them, right? So instead, they've spent millennia developing this sophisticated chemical weaponry. These toxins are evolution's ultimate defense, designed to put off everything from tiny insects to big grazing mammals. It's a chemical arms race that's been going on for millions of years. And you know, people have been navigating this toxic landscape for a very, very long time. More than 40,000 years ago, Australia's First Nations peoples figured out these amazing complex ways to leach the toxins out of plants like cycads, making them safe to eat. But for newcomers, the learning curve was often, well, it was brutal. In 1696, you had European sailors getting violently ill. A century later, an explorer named Ernest Giles lost his camels to a plant they fittingly nicknamed camel poison. It's a long and painful history, for sure. Now, you might think all these dangerous plants are way out there, you know, deep in the bush. But the truth is, the threat could be much, much closer to home. A lot of the most beautiful and popular garden plants are secretly hiding some pretty lethal capabilities, and you might even be growing them in your own garden right now. Take the oleander. I mean, it's everywhere in suburbs across Australia. People love it because it's tough and it has these beautiful flowers. But this is the absolute classic Beauty and the Beast situation. Every single part of this plant, the leaves, the flowers, the stems, it's all packed with what are called cardiac glycosides.
These are toxins that can seriously mess with and even stop a human heart.
And the oleander isn't alone on this rap sheet. The white cedar, which is a native tree, it produces these berries that are so toxic they have tragically led to the deaths of children here in Australia. And the angel's trumpet, with those gorgeous, sweet-smelling flowers, it contains alkaloids that can cause terrifying hallucinations, paralysis, and even death.
For anyone who loves venturing into the wild, the line between food and poison can be dangerously thin. There are native plants out there that look and even taste delicious, but they pose an extreme risk to an unwary forager. This is when bush tucker can bite back, and bite back hard.
This quote just perfectly captures that terrifying gamble. Aboriginal elders used these exact words to describe eating the fruit of the finger cherry. They knew that even though it tasted delicious, something could go horribly, irreversibly wrong. It's a plant that's deceptively tasty but totally unpredictably dangerous.
So the finger cherry, for instance, tastes amazing, but it can cause sudden, permanent blindness. Cycad nuts look all plump and inviting, but they've got neurotoxins that cause violent sickness, and eating them over the long term is linked to a disease kind of like Parkinson's. And the native cashew, its sap doesn't just give you deep, painful ulcers, it is so corrosive it can literally strip paint clean off a car. No joke.
Okay, after hearing all of that, you might be a little hesitant to even touch a leaf again. And I don't blame you. But look, knowledge is power. So let's wrap this all up with a practical, life-saving toolkit for what to do if you ever suspect a plant poisoning. So, here are the crucial first aid steps. If you're stung by something like a Gympie-Gympie, the absolute worst thing you can do is rub it. That just breaks up those little stinging hairs and releases even more toxin. Instead, try to gently remove them with sticky tape or even hair removal wax. If something's been eaten, do not try to make them vomit. Just wipe out their mouth and give them a small sip of water or milk. But for any incident, stung or ingested, the most critical step is to get expert medical help immediately. If you remember only one single thing from this entire explainer, please make it this number: 13 11 26. That's the 24/7 phone number for the Australian Poisons Information Centre. If you even suspect any kind of poisoning, this should be your very first call. Honestly, you should probably program it into your phone right now.
And that leaves us with one final question to think about. We've journeyed through the rainforest, we've gone back in time, but the biggest message here is that these dangers can be right outside your own door. So, take a look around. What silent dangers might be hiding in your own backyard?